What is up? How's everybody doing today? So I'm going to hang out as long as I possibly can. Not sure how much time that's going to be. So, how's everybody doing? Courtney Robb says, can the witnesses who described BG for the sketch not identify him from a lineup? It's a good question. I guess they would have to find the guy first. What up? What's up, Purdue? Hey, Marlo. Yeah, I'm doing great. Disguise ish. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maybe like, because we know it wasn't that cold. I mean, it was cold, definitely cold for me, but we know it wasn't really cold. But he could have just, been naturally wearing a hoodie, maybe some jeans, and then just threw on maybe a jacket that didn't belong to him. But I always wondered if it always made me think of if you guys ever been out like riding dirt bikes or quads or ATVs, and you know it's going to be muddy. You always have like a duffel bag on your quad or somewhere stored there where you got some clothes, like some spare jackets, some jeans. To me, he kind of looks like he was out riding. He's got something to cover his face. He might have some sunglasses on his forehead or something. So he could have very well just been out riding, uh, going under the bridge, seeing the girls. He could easily ride across that creek, park it right across the creek, run up the bridge, cut him off, force him down back towards his quad, do his thing, take right back off. So that was always one of my theories that I was working on because that's what I see. In my opinion, all theories need to start right there from this video. And then I would say the sketch secondary because I mean, we all know that debacle. The two sketch debacle. That's what I like to call it. What's up, D? Olivia says, hello, everyone. He's definitely wearing a disguise so he appears to be Ron Logan. But he doesn't, to me, he doesn't look like Ron Logan. He just looks like he's wearing what everybody wears. So if this is a young killer, let's say he's 16, and maybe he went into, the garage or somewhere and just grabbed a jacket and some jeans that belonged to his father or grandfather or family member or something. Maybe the killer is actually a very fashionable person. Emma says it looks like a windbreaker. They're not warm, but they repel wind and rain. But he looks like he's doubled up, even tripled up. I mean, if you were to compare him to what Abby was wearing on that Snapchat photo, I mean, there's just such a huge difference. And they even got there earlier in the day when it would have been cooler. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe even pants over pants or pants over shorts. Were the kids wearing skinny jeans around that time? Or it could just, this could just be the way the guy dresses on a daily basis. And maybe his disguise is just some strange hat and something to cover his face. Yeah, I always thought like a fisherman, you know, because if he got there early and he was walking Deer Creek and fishing and stuff, he would be dressed appropriate because it's going to be a lot cooler down by the water. There might even be a little breeze down there going through that channel. Um, but let's say he showed up very early in the morning, like fishermen like to do. Sunrise is a good time to catch some fish. What up? Hey, Rain. Yeah, me too, Tam. Tam B says, secretly watching from work. I can't get enough of it. I'm obsessed. Yeah, they need to catch this guy. I really hope they know who he is. Um, it it really kind of makes my stomach hurt when I listen to interviews with like Holman and a lot, mainly the FBI people, but they're always saying things like almost as if they're only going to catch him if he strikes again. I don't like that idea. What's up? Yeah, he's definitely shorter than Ron Logan. To me, he might be slender, heavy for his size, maybe a little bit athletic. The shoulders look defined to me. So he might be slender with somewhat broad shoulders, but he could be short. He's either short or a very large man with those proportions. Yep, doubled up. Because when you're a fisherman, you're sitting right there by the water, and all that. Everything's cooler by the water. I don't know if you've ever been on a hot day and walk by a nice grass field that's being watered. That cool breeze just comes, and hits you. That's how it is when you're fishing down by the water. Everything's cold. So I mean, he could have even parked at on the opposite side, somewhere on that southeast side on that over there. There's a couple places to park there. Hey, Vanessa. Maybe some long johns. I'm just wondering if he has some type of bag with him, you know, and in the bag he's able to pull out a jacket or something that he can use to disguise himself. Let me pull up the video. Yeah, it could be waiters, Courtney, underneath some jeans. Yeah, I mean, this could be very more planned out than we can even think of. A lot of people always ask me, like, why are you so worried about what's on the bridge guy? I don't know. Everything he's wearing could be a clue. Maybe. I don't know. I'm just trying to do something. I felt helpless. I don't like that feeling. What's up, Glenn? Glenn says, if it's not someone local who knew the girls, then I'm thinking this is a serial killer who's also responsible for the Evansdale murders, which is very possible. An intelligent killer who doesn't leave any traces. And this is on some conspiracy stuff, but if you count, if you look at the date of the floor fires and you count all the numbers up, it equals 13. So I don't know if that means anything because I don't even know if they're connected. I just thought I would say that. If that means anything to anybody. But yeah, I mean, this could be the same guy. I mean, what are the odds that the dates, like, if you put the dates together, they basically meet in the middle. The numbers go in reverse. 7, 1, 3, or no, 3, 1, 2, and then it goes 2, 1, 3. It's insane. 1, 7. I don't know if you guys have ever written that down. Here, let me put it into perspective for you. So take a look at that. To me, that's very strange. I mean, what are the odds of that? It's like if you start at the sevens from the end, they meet right in the center at the two. So it's like two occultish, and 7 and 13 are occult numbers. And also doing things in reverse is like a satanic thing. So I mean, there could be something there. I mean, this could be I don't know if it would be a serial killer, but he could do things like this. So if you can find another instance of this in the future, it might be something to look out for. Yeah, palindrome. So if somebody's able to locate any of those in the future that are similar to that with the cult numbers like that. Rory says, "Thank you for the info about the park and the girls were at the day prior to the murders, and the trail leading to the bridge." Yes, Radar is actually here. She's taken that trail from Riley Park over to the south end of the bridge. It's not an official bridge. Yes, it's proposed on the map, but there's trails back there. Whether or not they belong to the park or they're official, there's trails that go back there, and they go directly to the southeast end and hit the private drive. Yeah, it almost appears like he's trying to hold his pants up. Yeah, 42 is cold for me. It didn't look like the girls were bothered by it too much. Hey, Ivy. Yeah, he's definitely confident. It's almost like he's trying to have some swagger, like, yeah, you might be expecting somebody else, but once I explain to you the situation and like I'm gonna still gonna get your attention and I'm gonna try to win you over. And then maybe when that didn't work and he started getting creepy, you know, so they may have been maybe chatting it up for a little bit. I'm not sure because without that full 43-second video, we really have no context. And I've made videos in the past saying like if we use information from family as a fact, then it's a fact that the young guy sketch came from new technology. But we know that there's information that says otherwise. So we can't really take what we hear or what they say because in other videos you have people like Mike Patty who come out and say, "Hey, I'm in the dark too. I don't know. They're not sharing information with us either." They just happen to be boots on the ground and closer to the case and in first person. So it's a more of a trusted source, but it's not factual, in my opinion. So we got to take all that information with a grain of salt. And I mean, think about a highly skilled serial killer. Now we're going to go out into Hollywood movie production, conspiracy hour here for a second. Um, so let's say he's highly technical. He might even be connected with law enforcement somehow or have access to those types of systems. Might even be able to hack certain systems. So maybe he targets his victims uh, through third person. He purchases stuff on the dark web from these guys who are catfishing, and he kind of gains access to their information and picks his victims that way. That way, he's not connected whatsoever, and he has somebody to take the blame on when it's all said and done. Yeah, Marlo, it's so strange. I mean, check this out. What are the odds of that? And we're talking like Waterloo and Evansdale. That's not very far. What is it, like a 5 hour drive from Delphi? So just think if you have an anchor point. Well, the way I look at it, if this was some type of ritualistic killing, and the numbers would make it appear so, and that's if we're looking at the serial killer theory, and we're trying to give any truth to that. You would think Evansdale was his first time, right? And I'm sure the names and the ages of the girls might have something to do with it. Um, so if Evansdale was like a fledgling killing, he obviously got better with Delphi because he didn't really have to take the girls from that location in a vehicle. He took them just away from any public view. So it seems more sophisticated, same MO, but just more like he's adapted or he's made some changes. If this is the same guy, and not to mention, if it is the same guy, he would have 5 years to pick his next target that fits into his little fantasy or his ritual. Because we know some of the initials of the girls are the same. I think Lyric and Libby, I think their initials all the way even to the middle initial is the same. Just stuff like that. The ages, the girls are 5 years apart in age. I think one of the girls was 8, right? 8, 5 years later. So yeah, it's really a strange case. So if his goal was overall to somehow complete a ritual based off of numerology, trying to gain power, we know this is about power to you. So if he's trying to gain power through a ritual and it's includes this type of numerology, um, all he would have to do is complete the first half, the 71312 over at Evansdale, and then he has 5 years to figure out how to complete the 21317 and whatever that means. This is some type of code. Possibly. It looks like a code. Almost looks like a countdown or an arrow. An arrow kind of points. It looks like it's pointing. Yep, 7 bridges. So if they are connected, he got better. He got better. He got more. He got better at killing. I know that sounds awful, but he seems like he. It was more. It's like he fixed all the mistakes from the first time. He didn't pick them up in the town or near a public area. He he's thinking now he could have probably just done what he needed to do there at that lake instead of taking them. That's what I'm thinking. What's up, Peace? How you doing, Sloopy? In the woods with leaves much different than in a house. Maybe why put leaves, sticks, and dirt on the nude body? Yeah, that's a good question. Like, why would you cover one up and not the other? And and it's stuff like that that leads me away from a whole serial killer and it being related to Evansdale and all that. Because the only thing that makes me think it's connected with Evansdale is all the weird occultish and numerology and the similarities between the two. That's it. There's no people or anything like that that are connected. There's no names, nothing like that. But to me, that says shame. You know, when you were in your rage and you're out of control and whatever mind state these killers are in, that they are crazy. They're out of their mind at the time. So whether it was some type of perverted fantasy that he couldn't control, maybe as soon as it was all done with and he saw the total destruction, then the shame set in. Like, oh, what have I done? It's over for me. How could I lose control of reality like this? What have I done? And then looking at a naked body, you're like, oh, there's the shame. So you want to cover that. If you cover it, if you can't see it, it didn't happen. Or here, let me give you a little bit of dignity back, and maybe that's where the staging comes in. Maybe he took the bodies and was like, what have I done? And he just wanted to maybe give them back a little bit of dignity. So stuff like that makes me think that they may have known the killer. So I'm not sure. Hang on, Sloopy. Sloopy, hang on. What's up, Grizz? Hey, Marv. Yeah, but he definitely looks like he's confident. He's like, I have a mission. I'm going to complete it. He's probably, from what we know from other killers, his adrenaline is pumping. He's having the time of his life. It's everything that he hoped it would be. He's never been so high in his life. He's shaking. He's got to keep his hands in his pockets. He can't believe he's actually doing it. I'm not sure. I keep hearing all this information about JP and being a tech and all of this. I don't know anything about that. That's true. Nadi says they should show the rest of the video. I am pretty sure they don't know who it is, unfortunately. Yeah. I mean, and the sad thing is that they're going to show it. Eventually, they're going to show the full video. So why not just show it now? So I'm thinking maybe at the next presser, that's going to got to be the next move because we need to put all this. I mean, we don't need anything, honestly. But if we're ever going to help and we're not, it doesn't seem like any of us are going anywhere. I mean, I see the same names, for the last 5 years. I mean, we're not going anywhere. We're going to keep covering this case. We're going to keep looking at it. We're going to keep reporting on similar cases, and we're going to report any updates. So we're not going anywhere. So why don't you just post that full video so that we can put all of the information that we have in context? I would like to hear the subtleties. I would like to hear what the girls are commenting about this person. I would like to hear the noises in the background. I would like to hear every part of that video. I would like to hear listen for a car door shutting, some type of engine maybe near the south end. Did the girls seem like maybe they didn't know him? So, and we all know that the family says that they heard that and what they heard on there, but we can't take that as fact. We need that information if we're ever going to put it all together, I think. That's just my opinion. If I had any pressure to put on law enforcement, that would be it. Emma Nate says, "How was JP linked to KK's phone?" I personally don't know. I keep hearing more and more about that, but I'm not sure. But it is interesting. Maybe in my younger days. What's up, digital? Yeah, a lot of serial killers. They aren't caught. There's a bunch of active serial killers right now. Well, they usually don't change their MO. That's the thing, Glenn. But the thing is, the that doesn't mean the MO can't change. What it does is it evolves, and this is according to the FBI handbook. Like the MO, um, it typically doesn't change. It just evolves and adapts, and they learn from their mistakes. Justin Wally says, "I think the killer is just an underground guy who was using KK for grooming to avoid any paper trail. I don't even think KK would know his real name. They probably just communicated on the dark web." Yeah, killing by proxy. You know, it's like a proxy targeted by proxy to Pat Brown. Yeah, if anything, Pat Brown should get some credit for thinking outside the box. I mean, we if you want to know anything about Pat Brown, I mean, why don't you go ask him instead of making all these accusations and stuff like that? Ask the man, like, "Hey, Pat Brown, hey, I heard you were the one that found the girls. You might be shocked by what the man will tell you. But if it was his smarts, because you got to understand, it's suspicious, yes, and he could be the bridge guy. Don't get me wrong. And when I say could be, I don't make accusations. Like I was on Sunny's show and I was talking about the guy, DH, friend number one. Like I'm not saying it's him. I'm just saying we got to look at guys like that more than others. You got people who are accusing Kelsey, but you're not even looking at the friend number one who lived with Keegan Klein. Um, Law enforcement talks about somebody logging in and logging out of those phones. Phonotype is different. They don't use the same language. They just two separate people. So we automatically think, oh, well, that's Tony Klein. Then no, why couldn't it be friend number one? I'm not saying it is him, but if you're going to make a theory, at least have it be built of something, with some structure to it. And I guess Kelsey being the last person to drop them off, yeah, but she wasn't the last one to see them. We know now that all kinds of kids saw the girls there. Um, it's just that now it's kind of like an eyewitness testimony. You don't want to, not to mention a lot of the people were minors at the time. Yeah, we were just talking about that, Marv. Marv says JP worked on the Klein phones. That's interesting. Where can we find that information? We were just talking about that. A limp? I don't think I see a limp. I think I see a pivot. It's almost like right at this point, he's either saying guys, where it looks like he's spitting. Maybe he's talking to them, because at one point it looks like his tongue comes out. And sometimes when you talk, your tongue, you can see your tongue. Maybe he licked his lips or something. But it seems like he pivots. His mouth moves and then he kind of pivots in their direction. Yeah, and the girls in Evansdale were kidnapped right in town. They're riding their bikes near a lake there in town, and when they went missing, that's where the bikes were found. And I think some witnesses had seen them there. Well, especially grunge truck if they're planning on using a bladed or an edged weapon, they know that there's going to be blood. If they've thought this out, that's going to be the first thing. Like, hey, there's going to be blood everywhere. So why not put clothes over the clothes that I wear, commit the crime, stage the bodies, do whatever what I have planned. Leave my signatures, and then take off this gear. Maybe even leave the gear. I don't know how smart that would be, but maybe take that clothes off and expose what was underneath, looking completely different than that guy on the bridge. William Tyree says, "What even makes someone consider taking an innocent life? I think it's the thrill. They kind of lose their grip on reality, and they go into this fantasy state mixed with what social issues and maybe abuse or just some wires crossed. I'm thinking they do it for the thrill. I'm thinking that's what it may have all been about." That's the first time I've heard that, Emma. Yeah, it could have been something that's gone wrong, an attempted abduction. You got the private drive right there. Get downhill and get into the vehicle. They're like, "No, we're out of here." Shoe gets stuck in the mud as they're trying to cross the creek. I picture maybe Libby just zipping on over that creek, but then maybe Abby being captured, and then everybody says that they didn't leave each other's side. So I'm thinking there's something inside that story where one of the girls had to come back and maybe try to help the other, and then that's when both of them were attacked. So that's a decent theory. If you look at all the evidence, it kind of fits that. The guy walking towards them. But the question is, why is he coming from the north end? Did he start on the south end and turn around? That's why I think it's important we see that video. We have no clue. Yeah, and when they talked about the DNA, they said it was almost like this killer had never committed a crime before. So instantly, I thought about a young person, fledgling, possibly the first time. And it was very reminiscent of the Zodiac killer to me. So I'm wondering if somewhere in that profile we can put that this person is kind of admires serial killers or looks up to serial killers, horror movies, stuff like that. Not that that's bad because I love horror movies, and my whole YouTube channel, it's a true crime channel, and eventually we'll get to all that stuff. But this might be an abnormal obsession. No, maybe even to the point of like cases of animal torture, arson. maybe molestation of younger family members or something. For some reason, I think that might be in the profile, but I don't know shit, to be honest. Yeah, I can kind of show you guys the image I was working on. You guys were talking about it a little bit. So let me pull that up and see what you think. I think it's the clearest image I've ever seen of him, and it's probably where I'm going to start looking. I'm going to use it. I think I'm going to use this image as the cross reference for now. Hey, what's up, Chopper? Radar says Randy and I saw 666 spray painted in red on a bench at the trail. Yeah. Young kids, man, they just lose grip on reality. I remember when I was around that age, that same shit happened to me, and I could have gotten into a lot of trouble. Ran away from home and everything. So I know what it's like, and I feel for them. You don't see the danger that's around you. You think you know it all at that age. You act all innocent and perfect in front of your family, get good grades in school, but when you're out with your friends, you're wild, taking risks. Yeah, that's why you got to take that stuff with a grain of salt, Olivia, because we really don't know. I really want to know. Um, John Douglas really wants to know too. He's like, you guys keep asking me about a profile, but they haven't given me the information that I need to make that profile. He says, before you do anything in regards to age, you need to know exactly how sophisticated the crime was. He's like, that's where the age starts for him, and he was an FBI profiler. And the FBI will tell you up front that they don't have it figured out, and most of the stuff they have is reactive. Once they catch these crazy criminals, these serial killers, these Ted Bundys, then they can kind of take a peek into their minds, try to analyze them a little bit. What's up, hippie? No, they are cold, cunning, calculated, and crazy. They're definitely crazy. Sadistic too. Never heard of it, Radar. Might have to shoot me some information to my email, a little bit back information on that, the backstory. Hey, Victoria. I can't say that, Chopper Harris. I can't 100% say that. I can say I don't suspect Ron Logan at all. He's not like a POI of mine. But I just don't know who was involved. If you're saying, is he 100% this guy on the bridge? I'm not sure. Like I said, this is the best image I've ever had. You can kind of see the whole face, the type of nose he has, a little pig nose, both lips, thin mustache, some type of sharp pointed goatee, cigarette, toothpick, or sucker, or joint, or cigar coming out of his mouth, You can get a good shape here. And that's just my opinion. I spend a lot of time with that that bridge guy motion video. So definitely put in the hours. Yeah, he's definitely sick. For some reason, I see him. He's very confident on the bridge. He's most likely high on adrenaline, telling him things like, I can't believe I'm about to do this. Like, I'm really doing this. Let's do this. And then he just becomes that monster, possessed. You got to be crazy to do something like that. Yeah, it's either like a serial killer, very calculated, came up with the ruse, had his plan all worked out, um, or it's somebody the girls knew, like a friend of the family, maybe even somebody young. And I based that off of the fact that there was no signs of struggle, stuff like that. So I'm not 100% sure, but definitely leaning towards serial killer or somebody who has the potential to become a serial killer. I think once this all clears out, once we stop talking about this case, I think this person will do it again. I don't think he feels like he's gotten away with it yet. Still too soon to call it. Yep, total adrenaline. A very smart person, that never been caught for a crime before, and they haven't been caught for this one yet either. So, law enforcement, you need to show the full video. We just need to tie some of these strings together. Um, that's just how I feel. Thank you, Sloopy. I'll be singing on the sides, y'all. Bet you didn't know that. Yeah, isn't that crazy, Lorraine? Looks like a code, almost like a countdown. It's counting down from both ends and meeting right in the middle. But something else that meets in the middle is an arrow. So I'm wondering if it's pointing at something, whatever the answer to that code might be. But it also makes me think like this is about power to you. And if Evansdale was related, I don't think that they would tell us that. Especially if the FBI was working on something. Victoria says, I don't believe the bridge guy is the killer. Law enforcement knows who the killer or killers are. Why do you say that? Full clip. Unedited. Don't even edit it. Send us a good file of the video and let private companies that are professionals at this give it a try. Let NASA try it again. Give it another go. Let us give it a go. I just want to hear what they were talking about when the dude was walking up to them. I want to know if he yelled at them as he was coming. I want to know everything that he said. I want to know if he pulls out if he has a gun, like what does he have? Emma Nate says, radar. I've been checking out the Gilgo situation. Tell us more. Yeah, I agree. You got my curiosity. You know what, Peace? I've actually thought about doing that, but I think I'm just going to continue saying it in my videos every time. Every time I make these live streams, I'm just going to talk about how important that is. because I'm a big fan of that show, The First 48, and they make it a point to provide every piece of information as fast as they can because they know that they're racing against the clock. With the Delphi case, it was the opposite. They're releasing they released little by little by little the more time that went. This seems very strange. Why would you do that? Put everything out there and get this guy before he can get away. Yep, Evansdale is a they're very tight-lipped. And I'm wondering if law enforcement's like, okay, well, our guy did strike again. Kind of how Delphi says, well, if he strikes again, we might be able to catch him because he might make a mistake. Well, if behind the scenes they know that it's connected to Evansdale, and Evansdale's like, well, we're just going to wait until he strikes again, and then boom, he strikes again in Delphi. But the only problem was this time he was better. He left less clues. He may even planted evidence. You know, sleuthintuition@gmail.com. I don't. It doesn't get my email doesn't get any easier. sleuthintuition@gmail.com. And if you send me a link, I most likely will not click on it unless I know who you are. Too many sickos out there. I mean, it would be nice, but I think he's been wise to stay quiet. And the sad thing is, eventually, people are going to stop talking about this case. And then it will happen again, unfortunately. Glenn says, I lost a who in that message. A killer who changes his MO purposely to not be caught. He maybe doesn't need the recognition. Yeah, he may be just doing it ritualistically. And we know from past cases that people do kill for ritualistic reasons, and they think that they're sacrificing something to it, some type of deity or something. Digital says if law enforcement doesn't have this at least 90% locked down and they're not releasing more, they're incompetent. Wow. Because we've seen the same crap with the Florida fires. Doug Carter. I wish we could tell you all the work that we're doing behind the scenes, and one day we will. And then here comes Delphi. I wish one day we can show you what we're doing behind the scenes, and one day I will. It's the same old stuff. What's up, Aspen? That song Cool Kids popped into my head. Yeah, that's weird. I mean, I'm not taking it off the table, but I mean, I'm not taking anything off the table. Kelsey being responsible for this is kind of like aliens being responsible. Maybe a little more likely, that it was a human being or a family member, but there's just nothing that really points there. It's that kind of behavior. It's lazy, and that's what these killers are. They're lazy. They look for easy targets, So to me, it's the same behavior. These guys, they jump online and they find they find a hard target. Do some research. Try to dig up something new. To go after Kelsey just because she kind of gets her story mixed up, and also she's trying to keep attention on the case, but at the same time she doesn't want to have to keep explaining herself. So I can just see that she's torn. It's a horrible thing. But yeah, just don't be so lazy. But yeah, stuff like that does happen. I just don't see anything that's what's going on in this case. Because the girls were dropped off and people seen the girls there. I mean, what did Kelsey, come back with her boyfriend and with no motive whatsoever and kill the sister that she loves dearly? Like, come on, guys. Is it possible? Yeah. You know? Yeah, but anything is possible. Is it likely is the better question. French says the info about Julian Powell being Klein's tech repairman and documented on the Beyond Highbrow blog by Robert Lindsay. First of all, I don't believe anything Robert Lindsay says. I don't care if it's true. I don't care if it's accurate. Second, he started talking about the pregnancy stuff, whether it's real or not. Anything relating to Robert Lindsay is irrelevant to me. Um, and really, everything he receives is in third person anyway. So if he received information that KK and JP are related, then we should be able to have access to that same information. Until I see that information, it's just a rumor. Vanessa says that bridge is way too rickety. There is no way he can be walking natural enough to compare gait or movement type, in my opinion. And I agree. It was kind of strange to hear Doug Carter say, "Well, look at his mannerisms, look at him from the neck down, look how he walks." But keep in mind, he's walking on an old rickety bridge, spaces between the ties, things like that. It's like, how are we supposed to recognize a gait? But I think you could, especially if you pay attention. There's a pivot. He makes this pivot. So right there, I don't think he's an old man. I don't think an old man can make that pivot. He basically on his tiptoes, he basically is walking forward, completely turns his left foot almost 90 degrees to the left and puts his whole body weight down in a complete pivot to his left. I would see an old man kind of like stopping and then pivoting, in my opinion. Glenn says, I think it's totally fine to also check out family. If someone in the family, I would expect nothing less. It's unfortunate, but the family needs to be under scrutiny. Yes, correct. And that's why we need to give law enforcement some credit. That's the first thing that they do. Let's let them take care of that. Unless you find something groundbreaking, then tip it in. You know what I mean? Olivia, sorry, bridge guy, when he's walking, you can kind of see him as he's walking straight. Right towards the end, he pivots to the left. Well, if you watch in slow motion, what he does is he's walking straight and he completely pivots to the left, and he does it in a fluid motion. To me, it's not indicative of a older person. Vanessa made a good point. I've always felt BG led the girls to others waiting. You know what? I had this theory that the guys down the hill was him saying, "Hey, okay, I did my part. Here comes the girls. They're coming down the hill. Now you're up." And then he simply turns around and walks out. Yeah, I could have thrown it in the creek, and I could have messed with the DNA as well. And maybe he's the one that dropped the cell phone. Maybe that's how they got a fingerprint. It's a good, strong name. Yeah, I in no way support Beyond Highbrow. I've read it to its in its entirety. I don't think there's anything of substance there. But I am biased. As soon as I seen that whole pregnancy stuff, it upset me. Because you can have those kind of theories, that's fine. If you want to have a private conversation about it and try to, discuss it away if you need to, somebody close to you. But that's not something to say if you can't prove it. Yeah, it gives motive, but it's still, if it's not true, it's just disgusting. Yeah, they could have been forced down the hill, and then once they seen what was waiting for him down there, they were like, "Oh hell no! Let's just run across the creek. Come on, let's go, hurry!" And then they try to take off. And that's another reason why I think it might be somebody young, because it seems like they ran. Maybe they ran. Yeah, and we also hear about the man in black. So, you know, maybe he was wearing nothing but black. Put the blue coat over, put the jeans on, or he has nothing but black on under that jacket and blue jeans. Yeah, and that's another thing we don't know. If they would just show that video, show us the 43-second clip. We know for a fact it doesn't show any violence on there. You know, if I'm not mistaken, I've heard um, law enforcement state that. Person that hates females, yeah, or a person who's constantly rejected. That's a good thought. Glenn says, I believe he was on the south side and the girls passed him on the bridge first. He walked the bridge before turning around. It's either that or more people saw him, right? How could and maybe a lot of these witnesses did. Just give me a second. I just received an interesting message. I'm gonna take a look at something. Yep, couldn't find anything on that. You guys know anything about some news on Christina McClurkin? Thanks, Mandy. I couldn't do it without all your guys' help. People like Aspen. You got to just keep bouncing this information around. Yeah, me too. When I found it, I was like, what the hell is that? Yeah, it's double exposure, motion blur, cascading. So what I did was I focused on each of these images separately. And it looks like NASA focused more on the one in the center. They were able to bring that out. And I think the reason they did that was because that was the image that was also captured with the majority of the jacket and the rest of his body. But if you look closely, it almost even appears like the tip of the cigarette from a different frame down here or up here was captured as well right there. But really, the most important thing I think out of this image is just this block right here. Just this little area. We see the shape of the mouth. We see a small moustache. We see the underlighting of the shape of the nose, shape of his eye here. The rest of this is up for debate, but in my opinion, this is a backwards hat. But that's just my opinion. Oh, B. Phillips? Yeah, I still haven't figured out who it is. But there was a B. Phillips that called in a bomb threat. So he called in a bomb threat in 2016 to the Packers plant, which is very close to where the girls were found. He had court in Carroll County on the 13th that was canceled. So that means that he may have had downtime. But the only question is, was he in jail by the 24th of February? Because apparently, well, I guess he could have been lying. I mean, maybe the guy only thinks the letter came from a jail. Maybe whoever sent it to him just made it appear that way. I don't know, Omar. They're just people, aren't they? It's not like they have some kind of magic spell. I bet you would just want people to quit trying, huh? Yeah, it's not going to happen. Glenn says, at Vanessa. So this is a response to Vanessa here. The picture of Abby always bothered me. She looks so uncomfortable. And I don't think it's the bridge, but bridge guy who's coming towards her. Oh, I never thought of that. And then, but the thing is, she took two images. So she took one image where she's kind of facing the south end. So let's take a look at those. So he would have had to pass them at that point and then be behind Libby when she took that photo of Abby. All right, let's take a look here. So if we see here, she's standing. If we look at this photo, we can see 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we can see 5 here. 2, 3, 4. Oh no, we see 4 here. So they're standing here during this image. Standing right here. And they're kind of facing this direction. You know, because if we see these trees, I'm assuming that it's just right here at the beginning part. Okay, so they took this one first, and then they walked all the way to about right here. And Libby is facing this direction, facing north. back towards the entrance of the bridge and snaps this one. And the reason we know that is because we see the two. I don't know what you'd call those. Having a brain fart. Platforms. Sorry. Okay, so there's one here, two here. So that means they're standing right about here at the third one. Right here. So that would mean that during the first image, bridge guy is nowhere to be seen. He's not coming from the south end. And then they walk a ways to about right here. And I guess he could have already been coming at this point when they take this photo. So she could be like, okay, I wonder what's going on. I always thought this kind of looked kind of strange back here. Because there's a good vantage point right here. If you watch one of Randy Gravitz videos, where he walks from right here to the graveyard or the cemetery, I'm sorry. Oh, Karina McClarkin today. Oh wow. So they made an arrest. Wow, that's amazing. I hope they got him. I hope it's the guy. Something. I always thought something. This looked kind of strange back here, but whatever. Um, so yeah, I mean, he would have to be behind them at this point, because I mean, you don't see him over here. You don't see anybody walking right here. We hear about parent guy right here, and he kind of does look like a guy with his arm. If you look, his left arm's kind of going this way. There seems to be another right arm wrapped around the tree, and this like head thing kind of sticking out, but who knows? Yeah, that abstract information was creepy. You can like see skulls and stuff. Something paranormal about this case, anyway, if you ask me. Well, Mike Patty said that the girls kind of had this thing that they did where they would kind of film people without them knowing, kind of make fun of them. So they could have been thinking that the guy was just going to walk past them, and they're like, "Hey, let's film this weird guy, and let's, maybe we'll fuck with them or whatever." And then the guy just totally went ape shit, and they didn't expect it. Yeah, there's talks right now that there was an arrest made in the Karina McClurkin case. But they're staying very tight-lipped on it, so I'm not gonna jump all over it. I think Marv and them might be covering it, but I'm gonna stay patient on it and kind of do my own research when we're done here. So we're probably gonna hang out another 10, 15 minutes, and then I got to get back to work. Radar says someone I know took the BG photo to a college, and they said the left side of his face was deliberately blocked with some kind of red box. I think you uncovered that box, Sleuth. Crazy. Yeah, I'm definitely going to. Like, it's literally like breaking right at this moment. Some farmer out of Flint, apparently. Glenn says, at Vanessa, if I'm right, they had to be scared when they realized he had turned and came back towards them again, probably why Libby started to film. Yeah, I'm wondering if he did pass them. Maybe he was just walking just enough to kind of look around. You know what I mean? Maybe go to the halfway point of the bridge, look around. Okay, there's nobody around. Like, now I'm going to force these girls down where I just came from. I don't see a killer forcing him somewhere he's not familiar with. So maybe he was down in that area, in that general area. Yeah, that was crazy. It was before the 24th too, before they had any video out, and they didn't have a very good image out of the bridge guy. And apparently, this journalist got that image by a B. Phillips, the same B. Phillips who called the bomb scare into the Packers plant. Well, potentially the same guy. I don't want to say it is, but I have a feeling it is. And another strange fact about him is when he went to go to court to face those charges, court was canceled that day, and he didn't have to go. So I'm assuming he took the day off work, meaning he had some downtime. Amen, wife Lilith. Yeah, if you guys stream that radar, I'll definitely check in. Oh wow, it says three people. Oh wait, hold on. Oh, that's old news. Hold on. I can't find anything on it. So that's a little strange. If anybody has any links, can you email them to me or post them up here? That's what I keep hearing, Adam, but I can't find anything. Oh, a man named Farmer, not a farmer. Yeah, there's nothing online about it. Oh, I thought he was a farmer from Flint, Michigan. Flint farmer taken into custody for murder of Karina. Jen from the suburb says TK has had a mustache beard. Yeah, and around the time of the murders, he had this weird mustache and very deep, like those cheek indentions, crevices, creases. But apparently, according to Kim Riley, the DNA that they have is good, and he said it was like this person had never been arrested before. To me, that excludes Tony Klein because he had been arrested plenty of times. I believe he was a felon at the time. Yeah, I can't find anything about it. Yeah, I mean, this information must be breaking as we speak, like literally breaking news. Because there's nothing. I got people sending me arrest information. So whoever has this information must have been either local or been keeping their eyes out on any affidavits that might pop up. That's what I'm hearing, but I can't find any proof of that. Me too, Jen. I learned a lot. I learned a lot of investigative rules with that show. They're pretty good too. Kent or Flint? What's up, Joe? Joe says, in my opinion, why they won't release unedited video is because they are scared the public is going to think it was law enforcement that was involved with the killings because BG is kind of dressed like law enforcement. You know what? I've heard that said before too early on, that they didn't want to give the wrong idea. They felt it would hurt the case because the guy was using a ruse, possibly as a law enforcement agent. But the truth is, maybe he is. We don't know. Maybe it was a law enforcement agent. We don't know. We haven't seen the video, so we don't know. Oh, here we go. Marv's got she's gonna have the info. I have been in touch with Karina's grandmother. We'll update when I get verification if the rumors are true. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Marv. Thanks, Adam. Yeah, I just looked at that. Let me see if we can read this. It's from arresting agency was Kokomo Police Department. Status charge was murder. It is showing today's date, the 18th, at 1:39 p.m. That was, Eastern time, so a couple hours ago. 6'2", 225. Brown hair, blue eyes, white male, Kokomo. Interesting. Yeah, so we'll look forward to some updates on that. That's great news if it's true. It's about power. Yep, that's why I think they could be dealing with some kind of strange serial killer or fledgling serial killer, leaving strange signatures to mock law enforcement, or maybe indicating it was a ritual. Looks like we got somebody reaching out to us. Give me one moment. Frank, is that you?
What's up, buddy?
How you doing?
Got some great news, brother.
Let's hear it.
Just got off the phone with Karina McClurkin's grandmother.
Okay.
Since we did our show on Karina a month ago and named the prime suspect, they just arrested Flint Farmer for the murder of Karina McClurkin.
Wow.
So I just got off the
amazing.
phone with the grandmother, and she wants us to go live here shortly and make the announcement. But there's some things we got to keep quiet. They did take some evidence, a paper bag full of evidence. They took his computer, some other things too. So
that's amazing.
Yes.
When are you guys going
so
on?
Happy.
Because I'm getting out of here right now. I got to take care of a few things, and I'll be there, man.
All right, buddy.
Thank you for that update, you guys. That's great news.
I am so happy, dude. I'm so happy.
Yeah, and good work, by the way.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys for everything you do. Thanks for everybody who's here for all the right reasons. We're going to take a look at Marv and Frank a little bit later and see what's going on with these updates. I'm going to get out of here, but I'm sure I'll see you over there, guys.
All right, guys. Take care.
Later, Frank. Bye.
Bye.